Yeah, I'd like Charlie here. Today we're going to refoam some 6-inch design acoustic speakers, and as you can see, their foam is rotted out, needs to be replaced. So we're going to be using these kind of generic speaker foams. First of all, though, we're going to start by peeling our foam out, and it's pretty easy when you've got one this rotten. Just pull this foam right out off the edge, and it just comes right out just like that. And we clean it up. Okay, I was going to say, one of the things that we're going to do with this refoam is we're going to leave the cones on, and when we go to set the foam, we're just going to run a frequency into the speaker that will keep it centered, so we don't have to take the cone cap off and shim it. That's kind of a popular process. But anyhow, if you get yourself a nice tool, and sometimes one thing will work and one thing won't, but this one seems to be working real nice. So you get this all cleaned up. Okay, we're getting ready to start gluing the foam surround in, and generally the agreed upon stuff to use, the glue to use, is Aleene's original tacky glue. Start out by spreading a little bit around the cone, and can just use can put a little bit around, and then we'll just spread it with the we'll spread it with the Q-tip once we get a little bit on here, and just once we get it spread, we're going to put a little bit on the back side of the foam rubber, and then we'll just let it kind of tack up, and again, we'll do the same thing on the speaker rubber. And it's tacking up already, so we'll see how this is. It's got to tack a little bit more. We'll go ahead and use our finger here to kind of smooth that out just a little bit more and help get it to that perfect tacky consistency. With our both of our glue on each side, we just set our foam surround on here, and then we just position it as best we can to center around the basket, and then we'll push this down just lightly, start working that down onto the speaker. Okay, this is starting to set up, and as you can see, you just keep working this until the till the inside edge starts staying glued down to the cone. Sometimes it takes a little while, and that's why the quick tacky is probably better for doing the inside cone, and then this stuff is great for doing the outside, because you want this to get set up and stuck down without too much effort. But as long as it takes is how long you got to keep working it if you're using this stuff. And it is setting up, as you can see. You can see how nicely it's setting down, and it's not coming back up. It's staying in position much better now. So that's about it as far as doing the inside goes, and just make sure it's as centered as possible. The best way to do that is to center it around the basket if you don't have a line drawn on the inside of the cone. This is really stuck on nice though. It's working real well. Okay, so we've got the inside of the foam surround attached to the cone, and the last part is to attach the outside of the foam surround to the basket. And in order to do that, because we're not shimming it, we're not taking the cap off, we're just going to run a signal to it. Now, a lot of people like to say you should run a 25, 30 hertz signal to your speaker or whatever. Just for the ease of doing it, all you really need is just a low frequency signal at low volume that centers that cone and that's on your coil. So I just plug in my receiver and tune in a station, and then I turn it up, so that I can just barely hear it. So I know that the speaker is getting a signal. Then I know that this is centered. Journey. So we have our signal coming in at real low volume. That means it's not going to be bouncing around. And then we just do the same thing that we did before. We lift this up, and we put a little bit of glue in around here, and on both surfaces, and then we set it by leaving it to set itself to center itself with the so you get the idea. And once you get that glue around on same thing as on the inside, you just put it on both surfaces and center it up. Always put it on its back side. And again, just make sure that we get this back side of this lip, this foam lip, covered real good. So get this Aleene's tacky glue and just spread it up on this speaker lip. Tune it into a station and just leave it down at low volume, and it'll center itself just fine. Be very liberal with the glue on this lip. What that does, that allows the foam to move to where it needs to be. So be very generous on this outside lip, and get plenty of glue on here so so that the foam can just slide into place where it naturally is supposed to go. And then you'll have just a kick-ass, kick-butt speaker. Good. Okay, once you got that glue real thick and juicy on the back side of the outer part, and it just sits naturally in where it needs to be, then just straight down, just lightly tap these edges down into position so that it gets a real nice adhesion all the way around. And man, we're almost done. I can't wait to hear these babies again. Alright. Okay, when you're just finishing this up after the outside of the surrounds have sat, you can go back and reinforce this with just a little bit of glue. And what works really well is just a little syringe, and take and fill it up with your Olene's tacky glue, and then you can just run a small fine little bead around, then take your finger and wipe that up, and make sure you wipe it off the foam, and just so you have a nice little ring inside here to fill up any gaps that might be there, and it really reinforces it and sticks it on good. And so that's about it.